talking to Mr. Steve Benzak. And in this amazing conversation, Steve and I talk about financial health for your business. We also talk about sales strategies for growth and profit. We also talk about 5 tools to lead, manage, and execute with winning teams. We're going to be diving into this episode of the Happy Hustle Podcast.
Do you want blissful balance in your personal and professional life? Great. What's up, guys? My name is Kerry Jack, and I want to help you happy hustle a life you love, one full of passion, purpose, and positive impact. I'm a lifestyle entrepreneur, a professional model / actor, a digital marketing specialist, a podcast host, author, a biohacker, an eco-warrior, a martial artist, a hippie cowboy, and a humanitarian. My goal is to educate, inspire, and entertain you to live a life of passion, purpose, and positive impact. It is time to happy hustle your dream reality. Yee-yee! All right, my brother, Mr. Steve Benzak, welcome to the Happy Hustle Podcast. It is super awesome to have you on.
I couldn't be more honored, Kerry. I love working with you, brother.
Yeah, man. You and I, dude, we go way back. You know, we have been bros at the Bozeman Hot Springs for years, and then we started to learn more about what each other does, and we've just hit it off. You've come on a couple Montana masterminds. You also are part of the Happy Hustle Club, and you're up to some really cool stuff. I mean, you are what we like to call an OG in the business game, original gangster. You know, you've navigated 4 acquisitions after selling your own company, 2 of which were privately owned and 2 which were public. You moved from Seattle to Montana for a new opportunity with a competitor, and you grew that brand and sold it for 8x EBITDA. And then you took some time off. Now you enjoy business coaching to help business owners maximize their team's skills to gain freedom and build equity. You have led to 3 additional exits for your stoked clients, and you're a husband, you're a father, you're a happy hustler, man. You're always a joy to be around. And today I'm super excited to talk about the Montana Business Summit coming up this May in Montana, where you'll talk about financial health, sales strategies, and tools to lead and manage winning teams. But before we get into all that good stuff, Steve, what's something interesting about yourself that not too many people know?
Wow. Well, first and foremost, thank you for that introduction, Kerry. We do go back and it's at my place where I find tranquility. It's where I get mind space at the Bozeman Hot Springs, like
yes, same.
Many others, but yeah, I love it.
Don't go there. You don't want to go there, people. Just
because they're spectacular.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Something about me. Well, I'm the youngest of 7, and I grew up in a very entrepreneurial minded family, of which every single one of my siblings are entrepreneurs as well. So I've got 3 older brothers and 3 older sisters, and we followed the footsteps of our father into entrepreneurial activities, but none of us can straighten teeth. We can only just make them more crooked.
That's funny, man. Yeah, so you have a large family, and definitely being the youngest, I'm sure that was interesting growing up. I mean, you have really a inspiring journey, and we could go so many different directions, but I do want to keep it largely for entrepreneurs and business owners today, because that's really who you serve. And the happy hustlers are entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs. Like, they desire the 3 freedoms: creative, time, and financial freedom. And unfortunately, most businesses die. It's sad, but most entrepreneurs don't make it. Why do you think that is, first and foremost?
Oh, wow. That's a great question. And having been part of a number of different organizations with amazing vision, I think what I could really narrow that down to most specifically is a lack of expectations, a lack of clear expectations for the individuals that are brought onto the organization to fulfill the vision of the founder or the owner. It's so often that there's just a spectacular vision, and they're going to grind it out and make things happen. Yet oftentimes when people bring on new employees, new partners, there's not a clear expectation in terms of the role and the responsibility of the individuals that are
Mm,
coming on board. I love to set up organizations where every role has 3 KPIs. And the reason I like to do that is when someone can self-manage in regards to their KPIs, they know right out of the gate if they're
mhm,
doing a good job, a great job, or a poor job. And that's
mhm.
when you can coach them. You can come in and you can help them grow within their job or help them find a different job. So that for me is a lack of clarity with regards to expectations is the number one thing I see, which causes pain in an organization and a lot of turnover, and in some cases, unfortunately, like you stated, failure altogether, where the organization folds.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with that. Like clear expectations. And specifically, you mentioned KPIs, right? Key performance indicators.
Right.
And I know early entrepreneurs largely don't have these, you know, more experienced entrepreneurs and, people who want to grow and scale recognize the importance of systems and KPIs. But it
Hmm.
is definitely something where you have to have clear expectations and even just clear goals. Like when you're growing any business, you need to have clear goals of where you want to go. Even you and I are both into bow hunting, and right,
Hmm.
you're going to miss every time if you don't have a clear target, right? it's
Right.
it's
Right.
shocking though. Most people with their lives, even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're maybe right now in a career. If you don't have a clear goal in a like what we said in the Happy Hustle Club, SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely goals, you're not
Right.
going to be able to achieve it. When you help organizations and specifically entrepreneurs and founders and executive teams create and set goals, what are the core components that you build off of?
It's a great question. I have to segue back to something you said about bow hunting, and one of the
Yeah.
objectives as part of the Happy Hustle Club, was to shoot my bow three. First, it was one time a week, starting off the year, and then it moved
Yeah.
to 3 times a week. And
Yep.
I have to tell you, the level of confidence I have right now, with regards to my shooting, I'm shooting a tight 3-inch group, at
Nice.
30 yards. And all that's doing for me is building strength. It's building strength and repetition and confidence. And that's
Mm-hmm.
really, as I look at setting up an organization and working with the ownership and their management team, it's setting up objectives. We'll look first and foremost, we look at opportunities. What are all the opportunities? Throw them all out there, and then go through a process of identifying which ones they really want to prioritize in their organization as, wow, that's a good opportunity. Let's do that. Let's get after that. And then we set up 90-day sprints, of which, with the 90-day sprints quarterly, basically, you set up what is the 30-day objective with that specific opportunity, what's the 60-day, and then how does it look when it's finished at 90 days. And
Mm.
that for me has moved organizations forward in a manner in which, first and foremost, they're all focused on specific objectives. That's great. You've got everybody aligned on what those objectives are, and then you have a 30-day check-in to where it's like, where are you at? And it presents an opportunity to identify, wow, there's a few things that are causing a hurdle here. How can we help? How can we help our team members? And that right
Yeah.
there is so dynamic when you have people helping each other, and you get into a position to where I can help you with that. In fact, we can achieve and create success right now today to help you get to where we need to be at the 30-day mark. Then you
Mm.
reevaluate and you move towards your 60 and 90. But I think that's a great example of identifying the opportunities, discussing them, making sure they fit the alignment of the organization, and then setting your benchmarks at 30, 60, and 90 days so that you can achieve greatness.
Yeah, man. It's so important to have those macro and micro goals clearly identified, and then, those action tasks. I often relate it to like writing a book, right? If you want to write a book, you're not going to write a whole book in a morning, most likely, unless you're,
Right.
you know, on one, you know, good for you. But most likely you're going to have to chunk it down and set a discipline to write, 5 pages every single day, or, a time
Right.
frame of an hour every single day, or a page or a word count. But you have this macro goal, and then you break it down into micro chunks. I just think that is so pivotal. I do want to talk about this, Montana Business Summit, speaking of pivots,
Hmm.
because this is something that I feel like every entrepreneur and business owner needs. And even those of you who maybe are listening or watching who want to have a business and maybe don't have one yet, this is something that you have to be thinking about.
Right.
And first, just tell us what the Montana Business Summit is, and when it's happening, and then we can kind of define what's going on within it.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. So the Montana Business Summit was put together with two other individuals and myself. One of them, a gentleman by the name of Jeff Streeter, and Jeff has been a business owner for 21 years. He's got a company called Lucky Bums, and it's a kids outdoor brand, highly successful. I was
Nice.
came across him many times in the outdoor industry when we were operating ex officio, the apparel brand that we had at Adventure Travel. Um, Jeff is a chemical engineer, so
Hmm.
he's very specific on certain
Yeah.
things. So when it gets into finances, he's a mad scientist, and the coolest
Mm,
thing that he does is really gives people visibility of where their business can go, and with
mm,
small adjustments in terms of um, capital expenditures or small adjustments with regards to staffing, different investments in the business, how that impacts the organization on a monthly basis regarding cash flow, and then
mm,
where that looks in 2, 3 years down the road. So his work as an outsourced B2B CFO is exceptional, and I'm just honored to work with him. He's a genius, and he's one of those finance guys that there's those that are a bookkeeper mindset and those that are a strategic partner. He's a
mm,
strategic partner. He thinks where the business needs to go and how to
mm.
get there creatively. And so I love working with Jeff. He's our first session up, and he's focused on what you need to do to set up your business for an exit, but it's really all about setting your business up for profitability and
Yeah.
functionality. Yeah.
Mm.
And yeah, you'd love it. He's a great guy. There's a picture of him on our website, Equity Catapult, where you go to events and you see a picture of him, and it's got him out shed hunting. So he's got a
Nice.
massive like 6x6 shed that he's picked up, and he's a just a great person. So
Yeah.
Jeff is our first session.
Well, and let me just define, shed is an antler for those people who
Yes.
aren't familiar. And, just to that point, like this principle of profitability is imperative. Obviously, you can't run a business for long operating in a loss.
No.
However, when you talk about setting yourself up for an exit, that means your books have to be super clean. You have to be having systems and, again, KPIs and clear roles. And it's like, whether you ever want to sell your business or not, just being able to set it up for an exit is going to create a much more enjoyable, happy hustle, right? Speak to that point. Yeah, speak to that point just a little further, because I just don't think that hit me hard when I realized, like, whether I ever want to sell the Happy Hustle or not, like setting it up for sale where it could be,
Hmm.
sold is the goal, because then it's just it's an actual business, right? It's not just like a, self-employed job or whatnot. They speak to
Right.
that point.
Yeah, absolutely, Carrie. The importance of setting your business up with an exit in mind, as you stated, it gives you visibility of where all your expenses go, and gives you visibility of, are you operating on a cash flow basis? Do you know where the business is going to be next month, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year, 2, 3 years out? When you have a handle on those things, just regards to the financial elements of it, it gives you freedom as an owner, for one, to sleep well, for two, to be able to plan and execute, as well as make sure that the rest of the organization knows where you stand. And that then allows you the ability to say, we're going to hire 3 people next year, or we're going to hire 3 people in 2 months. And it fits into this plan. And
Mm,
when you plug those roles in, whether they have a base compensation or a variable compensation, or an equity position, you get to see the impacts with a financial model on what that's going to do to the organization. And
mm,
having that clarity of understanding is, man, it's so powerful. It really is. It gives an owner confidence and pride, and that there's not a lot that can deliver that type of confidence in the day-to-day operations, other than
mm,
clear financial business and then your sales strategy.
mm. Yeah, man, that is like absolute gold. I hope everyone just goes back and listens to the importance of, building a company with the mindset that it could be sold. And
Yeah.
if you have that as your everyday, operational insight, and you're like, that is what we're doing. If we're if we're doing a task more than twice, we're documenting it. If we're
Yeah,
able to
absolutely.
outsource, we're doing it. We're looking at expenses and making wise choices financially. That's how you get the freedom that you seek, and have an entity that really does serve your ultimate desire of, right, those three freedoms again: creative, time, and financial freedom.
Absolutely. And if you think of that in regards to, you're building your business and
Mm,
you want to be successful, you want the profitability, you want the freedom, the tools, the access to different things that give you joy. And wouldn't it be wonderful if all the work and effort that you put into that business, and everyone else in the organization, the grind that you put in, that someday that there's a significant ROI where you actually can either hand it to a family member, um, or sell it as an asset that someone else sees value in.
yeah.
That's nice to have that as a nest egg, and there's nothing more valuable than the place where you're going to spend all your time and effort to make other people's lives better. And
Yeah.
that's the beauty of having your own business.
Yeah, man, so true. And really, like, having a business is the path to wealth for just about every wealthy person then that, even if they made their money in, stocks or bonds or whatever, real estate. Like, they have a business
Yes.
operating typically, unless you're a trust fund baby. Good for you. But like, the majority of people who have that freedom that you seek, and that wealth and that abundance, business is involved. And so you have to be thinking,
Yeah.
as such.
Absolutely.
And you mentioned
Absolutely.
sales strategies, because this is such a key piece as well. So at the Montana Business Summit, you're talking about financial health, and you have just amazing experts coming in to leverage their wisdom. But you're also talking about sales strategy for growth and profit. Unpack
Right.
that for us.
Yeah, absolutely. Session two is all about sales strategy. and that's being led by a gentleman by the name of Todd Tweedy. And Todd
Mm.
has, boy, probably 30 years experience in working with
Dang.
fast growth organizations in telecommunications, SaaS, and then predominantly technology. So
Mm.
high tech. In many of those organizations, there's a multitude of fundraising processes that take place and expectations. And in that, there's a lot of pressure. So the experience that Todd brings to the table as a sales acceleration advisor is exceptional. There's a new product that he's introducing called the Sales Framework, and the Sales
Mm.
Framework establishes the foundation of establishing a clear sales strategy, making sure that the team knows what their expectations are, and then how to execute on a sales process and plan that provides that visibility of what many of us would call the pipeline. The pipeline is, where's the business going, and what's ahead of us, what's out there that we know we're highly focused on that is going to close as business in the future. And that's
Mm.
as a from the finance side, it's good to know where the sales team sits, what the costs are associated with those sales, so that you can plan to receive the funding that you need from sales and grow upon that, whether or not you have to pay a bank, or you have to pay shareholders, or you have to show specific objectives of benchmark growth to be able to secure additional funding. So,
Mm.
um, he's a stud, and he and Jeff both live up in the Whitefish Kalispell area,
Mm.
and that's where one of the events will be. That's on May 15th at the Whitefish Lake Lodge, and then the other one will be
Mm.
at the Riverside Country Club on May 9th in Bozeman. But
Nice.
needless to say, lots of talent from both of those individuals, and it just there's nothing more important than selling. You have to
Yeah.
sell products to make money, and you should always be selling them at a higher profit margin than you might think in order to feed the machine. You've got to be
Yeah.
able to pay the benefits for all the people. You got to be able to pay for new acquisitions, whether that's products or services in the business. Um, Help your clients grow. You've got to add people to be able to support them. So he lays out the sales framework that it will establish a very formative sales strategy for an organization.
Mm. Yeah, sales is like you're talking dirty to me. I love sales.
I know you do. I know.
I, it's just like people get this slimy, scammy
Mm,
uh, picture in their mind when you hear the word sales. I feel like it has a negative connotation, but really it's such a positive because if you have a product or service that you believe in so much
mhm.
so that you know it can positively impact others' lives, like it is your duty to sell it and to know how to sell it damn good,
Absolutely.
and I mean, we talk about the roadmap. That's our proprietary sales system. And it's rapport, obstacle, aspiration, demonstration, match, ask, pull. And we've done episodes on
Right.
this, but do you have a specific, process, will you, or a talk track or anything that you use when you're going into a sales interaction?
With regards to sales acceleration, there's most definitely a process that we go through, and I
Mm.
would say um, to the element where people feel that sales could be a dirty word, what have you. So be it. Embrace it. Embrace whatever there is, because it provides an opportunity to, in my case and in anyone's case, the responsibility of a salesperson is to educate and inform someone, whether it's your prospect or client,
Mm.
on a specific item or service, but educate and inform them so that they can make an educated decision. Whether they choose your product or service, that's up to their decision. You've done your job. Your job is to educate and inform as to the benefits and the merits of that product and how it hopefully will take away some element of pain or concern that they have, and give them freedom, give them hope, give them understanding. So, I selling's fun, as long as you believe in the product.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Apologies for interrupting your programming. But I have to tell you, the best investment you can make in yourself is one in which helps you acquire skills. You've probably heard people talk about, oh, just invest in yourself and you'll be successful. Yes, that's true to a degree, but you have to invest in skills that will ultimately help you achieve your desired results. And I think one of the best skills one can possess, be it an entrepreneur or an aspiring entrepreneur, is the sales sword. Really knowing how to sell, utilizing pressure free persuasion, which will make you more money and more impact. Now, if you want to know how to sell more efficiently and effectively, I just launched a sales course called The Proven Roadmap Process to Selling Millions of Dollars and helping you to increase your conversions guaranteed. And you can get access to this new sales course that the Happy Hustle is launching at thehappyhustle.com/sales. And if you act fast, you'll get it at the lowest price it'll ever be available, because we are launching it and we want to gain amazing testimonials and social proof to further share this knowledge. So if you act fast, you can get it at the lowest price it'll ever be. That's at thehappyhustle.com/sales. Now let's get back to this episode.
Yeah, that's
In
the key.
regards
Yeah,
to,
you got to
in
believe in
regards
your product.
what's that? You got to love your
Well, I just said you
product.
got to believe in your product and have integrity. Yep.
Amen. Amen. I think it's when people, the slimy element comes from people that maybe they don't love their product, maybe they don't have integrity, and they'll do anything to secure a sale, including misinformation or overpromising and underdelivering. And that's we've all been through situations where we've experienced that, and you know just buyer beware. Buyer beware. Ask good questions. Ask good questions. The process.
Mm-hmm.
Todd will go into extraordinary detail with regards to the process that he will be recommending. I also am a certified sales leader, which means that I've gone through extensive training and leadership organization to be able to lead sales teams. I was a sales acceleration advisor myself, and I still provide a tremendous amount of information where possible with clients that need some assistance on the sales side of things. But in most cases, I like to recommend Todd for what he does. And so much of that's going to be based upon the sales framework.
Yeah, I mean, you have to have a framework. You have to really understand that there's a gap between where your prospect is and where they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
And your product or service should fill that gap. And
Absolutely.
in order to sell it to them, you need to make sure that you're communicating how this product or service could ultimately benefit their lives. And I think where a lot of people get caught up is they talk a lot about their features and not necessarily the benefits.
Right.
Oh, my coaching program, you get 2-hour calls with me once a week, and you get, all this course library, and you have all this, community access. And it's like, but what about the benefits? Like, the benefit is they have more time to spend with their wife, and their kids they get to see them in the stands at their baseball games. And like, those are the benefits that you need to be talking about when you're selling, And so just a little reminder for everybody, sell the benefits, not the features.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
that's
anyway.
if I may, I'm going to share with you my why. I'm going to share with you my why. Because it's a perfect tie-in to what you just said. And I may get emotional with regards to this. So This is back in the early 2000s, and I was doing quite a bit of traveling overseas, visiting manufacturing facilities in China, in Vietnam, in Indonesia, and Malaysia. So I was running an apparel company called Ex Officio. And it just so happened that this was also butted up against the state playoffs for my oldest son's baseball team. And
Mm.
I'm in a taxi, and this will date me as well, with a BlackBerry. And, so pre 2006, right? When Apple came out with the iPhone, with a BlackBerry. And my wife is texting me back and forth. It's early morning in Asia. And my son's, who has never pitched a game before in his life, because now at this point in the playoffs, they'd run out of all their pitchers. He'd never pitched before, played center field. And guess what? He got put in to start as the pitcher, and he did something that most people never ever have an opportunity to do. And he pitched a no hitter. He pitched a no
Wow.
hitter, and they win the state championship. And I'm getting information on a BlackBerry, punching the buttons, and it's super exciting. But my why is to be able to provide business owners the flexibility and the confidence to be able to leave their business and attend and participate in these family functions and activities, or whatever it might be, something that is deeply personal to them, and not miss out on those like I did. And so
Mm.
that's my why, Carrie, and I'm sticking with it.
I love that. Dude, that's powerful, man. It really is. And you know, that's what everyone desires, that freedom and flexibility. So
Mhm.
I've seen that in my own life, and being able to have that freedom and flexibility largely. Now, I'm not obviously where I want to be, at my end destination, nor do I think we'll ever be there, because obviously the
Right?
goalpost keeps moving, but I'm
Yeah.
happy in the hustle nonetheless. But man, oh man, having that, freedom and flexibility has to be a part of your intentional game plan as a business owner, or else you just become reactive and you become a cog in the wheel, and you get stuck. So I just
Right.
think the fact that you're talking about this at the Montana Business Summit, the fact that you're talking about financial health and sales strategy, it's so needed. And I know you're also talking about 5 tools to lead and manage winning teams. Let's
Yes.
talk about that a little bit. What are these 5 tools high level? And then if people want to go deeper, obviously they got to go to the
Yeah,
summit.
absolutely. So, the 5 tools to lead, most important, and manage winning teams. So, the first one is building a clear org chart. We talked a little bit about that earlier, but a really clear org chart about not necessarily where you're at today, but where you're going to go. And when you
Mm,
do that, you have, again, what's the mission of the role? What are the 3 KPIs, where someone can self manage their role? And then the responsibilities. So I work on the org chart with an organization, and that really establishes the responsibilities of each role, and make sure there's not overlap, because and again, we talked about it. Clarity is given for each role. Um,
mm,
the next tool that we talk about is setting and refining the scoreboard. So the scoreboard is just
mm,
provides visibility of the status of the company's current achievements and where they're going to be. So leading indicators as well as trailing indicators. But when I look at that, is off. If someone's wondering what they should be, I just take the 1, 2, or 3 KPIs for each role, and plug those in as a starting point. What I like to say, excuse my French, is we just want a shitty first draft.
yeah.
Um, so pardon my French, but needless to say, um, setting up that scoreboard is really important, because you want to create a cadence with a weekly meeting where you're reviewing that scoreboard as an organization each and every week. Um,
Mm,
you also then set up your quarterly objectives. we talked a little bit about this earlier, as starting with opportunities, throw them all out there. And then what I like to say is keep, kill, and combine. So keep the ones that are really important, combine the ones that can be combined. And then you set an
Mm,
objective. With that objective, you then you establish who's in charge of that. One person,
mm,
no fuzziness, no two people responsible for it, but get one person in charge of that, and then do that 30, 60, 90 objectives. That's critical.
mm,
Then mastering and what I say pacing team meetings. So establish your weekly meeting where you review all these things.
mm.
And you just get an update. Here's where we're at. Here's the status. Here's the report card. I don't want any explanations. Just give me where it's at. And
Yeah.
then talk about opportunities again. And then in that meeting, identify what are your three highest priorities, and can you actually solve those problems or issues or opportunities? Because again, we see everything as an opportunity. Um, when you do that, then see if you can come up with a solution in that meeting. Um,
Mm,
and then lastly is creating what we call a one-page business plan, or the
mm,
one-page roadmap. And you referred
mm.
to roadmap earlier as well, and
Yeah.
that's all of this is part of an organization process as a operational framework, leveraging
Mm,
system and soul. And the system is the structure, the framework, and then the soul is the people. And having been through as many acquisitions as you stated earlier, I've watched companies that didn't have values, that didn't have culture, and enforced culture. I watched them die. I've watched them get eaten up in public environments, and powerful companies. One in particular was $150 million as part of this public organization that I was in, and they didn't have strong values, and they didn't leverage those and hire and fire by them. And guess what? They went out of business in
mm.
3 months after the acquisition. And it's like, oh, just broke my heart. Broke my heart.
Dang. Yeah, I mean, these are powerful. I just to do a high level recap. I mean,
Yes.
we're talking about the tools to lead and manage winning teams, and first and foremost, you got to have clarity in each role, right?
Correct.
Then you need to have scoreboard and KPIs for each role. Then
Yep.
you need to have quarterly objectives, excuse me.
Yep.
And I love that keep, kill, and combined.
Yeah.
Those tasks. Um, then you talk about mastering and pacing team meetings. Like literally, how much time is wasted in meetings? It's so sad.
Yeah.
And then you talk about creating a one-page business plan. System and soul. I freaking so dig that. So many organizations don't have soul. They just have the system.
Right.
So it's so cool that that is something that you embody and that you help instill in the companies that you work with. And, it's just like, this is stuff, man, I just got to say, like, it is eye opening again for me. Every time I talk to you, I just get inspired and I want to like, just go deeper down this rabbit hole in each of these, because it's like you take your business to just a whole different dimension when you start to think about these things. And it's like, it can be a rocket ship to
Yeah.
impact an
Exactly.
income, you know?
Yeah. That's where, when you were talking about the work that I've done with clients in the last few years, where there's been 3 exits, and
Yeah.
the confidence you go into meeting with possible investors or possible acquisitions, you can answer all the questions.
Yeah.
Here's our finances. Here's our objectives, where we're going. Here's what we've accomplished on our sales strategy. Here's the process. It's repeatable. We can forecast where we're going to be in three months, 6 months, a year, 2, 3. Here's where your finances will go. Here's how we're going to get there. And we operate within this framework. And they see the culture, they feel the people, and man, anyhow, it's incredibly powerful when you start to put these things in place. And first and
Mm,
foremost, give the people in your organization um, the power to believe, in the vision that the owner has established for the organization, and you start to build momentum each quarter, and
Mm,
then the realization comes like, whoa, we can do more. I like this,
yeah.
and leads to good things.
Heck yeah, brother. Man, this is awesome. I'm so stoked about this. I'm definitely coming to this Montana Business Summit as well. And for all the happy hustlers out there who want to come, like this is something I would like fly into Montana for. Or if you're in the region, drive over because like this is going to be a game changer for you and your business. And you are doing something super cool for all the happy hustlers. Go ahead and tell them what you got going.
Yeah, yeah. So, well, first and foremost, I just have to say, Carrie, how much I've enjoyed being part of the Happy Hustle group. I mean, honestly, it's transformed elements of my life. I look at the 10 alignments and measuring those things every week or every 2 weeks, but being consciously focused on elements of what the happy hustle is all about.
Mm,
It's improved my life dramatically. I'm going to get emotional because it's had such impact on my relationships, not only my clients but my family.
mm,
It's very powerful. So thank you.
mm.
And as part of my thanks to you and your listeners, is we are going to have free for me. So anyone that signs up before these events. So again, May 9th in Bozeman is the event at the Riverside Country Club, and then May 15th is at the Whitefish Lake Lodge primo facility. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I know they're awesome. But if someone goes to our registration and once they go in there, put in the code FREE, the number 4ME, free for me, and you and someone else can come, but register quickly because we've only got a few seats left
Hmm.
for the Bozeman event, and probably have a half a dozen or so available for Kalispell. But please take advantage of the opportunity. Happy hustle all the way there, and we'll give you some great content that you can implement the very next day in your business.
Oh, man, that is such a generous offer, Steve. And I receive all those kind words, brother. And seriously, just to reciprocate, like you have been a gift in my life, and just having you a part of the club and your energy every single meeting and just going on the masterminds is it's been a joy and one I'm so grateful to be in your presence. And yeah, I'm really excited about this Montana Business Summit. And I'm so grateful that you're willing to do it for free. Guys, this is over, this is thousands of dollars of value. And I know the tickets are literally $500 minimum, and now you are giving it for free. So, guys, code free for me. We'll link it all up in the show notes. But jump on this opportunity. Montana this time of year is absolutely beautiful in spring. Spring has sprung. It's a great time to visit if you don't live in the area. And if you live in the
It's
area,
spring
you
is
really got
sprung,
no
but what did it
excuse.
do today or last
It
night?
snowed.
That
Yeah.
snowed, but it's all melted. There's a little in your background because you're at higher altitude. But again, Carrie,
Yeah.
thank you, thank
Yeah.
you, um, thank you to your wife and your son Kaizen um, for giving you the flexibility and the time to work with me and share what you've got as the 10 alignments with the Happy Hustle. It's powerful.
Yeah, brother. Thank you, man. Thank you so much. I do want to put you through a couple of the typical Happy Hustle questions, if I
Oh,
may, and then we'll wrap this interview up.
okay.
So, real quick, this is a tip, a tool, a tactic we deem a Happy Hustle hack for your health. Something uniquely Steve. Anything come to mind?
Oh, happy. Well, first and foremost, I get up usually every day between 5 and I'm at the gym at 5:30, and um, I, I go through either yoga or a workout. And in all honesty, for me, the steam room is clutch because I can stretch in the steam room,
Yeah.
but I always end with the cold plunge. It's just
Mm-hmm.
It's money, as you know, and we do it up in the high mountains, on the Happy Hustle
Yep.
backpacking trips.
Yep. Dude, that's so awesome. Yeah. We've shared many of ice baths in steam rooms together. So that's a great happy hustle hack. Let's talk about money. Do you
Yes.
have a happy hustle hack for your money? Something maybe that you do to save or invest or spend wisely that we could deem, happy hustle hack in this arena?
Ooh, wow. Um, I've always been a saver, and I saved up and had all my finances in order, before I got married.
Mm.
So I'd put all the money together that would pay for our wedding, and
Mm.
the the beverage bill alone, I think, was $15,000, and that was all. It was transported from California across the borders to, Washington at the time. But, let's see. Yeah, I just joined the Wealth Factory. So,
Nice.
yeah, so Garrett Gunderson's company, I joined that organization, and I'm in the process of just reevaluating, and getting rid of my sacred cows. I'm killing my sacred cows, and
Nice.
and honestly, we're looking at properties, to invest in, and there's a number of folks on the Happy Hustle that are providing me some great insight. So yeah. So again,
Love that.
I'm a saver. I've done the traditional things, but I'm about ready to do some things that are non-traditional.
Cool, man. Yeah, you got to have saving a part of the equation for sure, but also investing, right? So, and
Yeah.
I know that's what you do as well. Let's talk about spirituality. I think
Mhm.
it's a part of life. It has to be if you're a happy hustler to connect to a higher power. Do you have anything in this arena that you do to, connect to a higher power? I mean, um,
Yes. Yeah. That's
yeah.
good. That's a great question. It's I was born and raised in a Catholic family. Went through parochial schooling, grade school, high school, and then it kind of fell away from the church per se. When we started having children, it was this rush of, what do I do? Oh my gosh, what do I do for my kids? And I asked my brothers, in particular, so why did you send your kids to Catholic school? And they said, because I know they'll be loved, and I know that they'll be around people with good values. So
Mm,
whether or not anyone chooses where they want their kid to be educated, it's important to provide that foundation, not only to be a loving
mm,
family, but people that will openly love them and care for them and watch out for them and help guide them. For me, I I spend time with this. It's called Jesus Calling,
mm.
and it's just every day there's a little something to read, and it just sets my mind straight each and every morning, and it's very helpful. We sit around the table every night, with when the family's here, and give a prayer of thanks for what we have at the dinner table. That's how I was raised. I actually have the table, the dining room table, that my mother grew up around with her mom, that
Oh,
I grew
cool.
up around with my, nine people sitting around the table. And now my family sits around it, and it's it's a it's a place to give thanks and praise
Mm.
for what we have. And I do believe in a higher spirit. I have faith, and it's growing stronger. It's growing stronger for me each and every day.
That's beautiful, man. Yeah,
Thank you.
I definitely empathize, and I think you know having some type of connection to a higher power it's imperative. Let's talk about a couple, rapid fire round questions,
Okay.
just putting you through, and then we'll wrap this interview up. So this is just where I ask you randomly, a couple questions that you answer honestly. First thing that comes to mind. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. Favorite food? Go.
Tacos.
Favorite movie?
Ooh, Dead Poet Society.
Favorite book?
Mm, wow. That's a really difficult one. Um, gosh,
First thing that came to mind.
gosh. You know what? I've got one. Favorite book. This one right here. I didn't really. Um, I wasn't really thinking about this one, but it's called Renegades. Um, Break rules and find
Okay.
freedom. This was written by the founder of System and Soul, and honestly, it's like everything you go through as an entrepreneur, you're like, oh, I felt that way too. You know, it's all the guilt, the dirty little pleasures and such, and it's like it's good, but
Yeah,
uh,
I'll check that out.
yeah, it's good.
That's great. Uh, Best business advice.
Have a clear vision of where you're going. Um, Make sure you have values that you can hire and fire from, and have clear expectations for every role in the company. Have
Mm.
that level of respect for the people you hire so that they can self manage themselves.
Oh, that's gold right there. Um, what's your spirit animal?
Oh, my spirit animal.
An elk.
Mighty, the mighty elk, the wapiti. The wapiti. That
Yes.
is this most definitely my spirit animal.
Awesome. And if you had a billboard for the world to see with your last piece of content on it, what's that billboard read?
Be proud.
Love it. Man, you crushed that rapid fire round, Steve. And again, brother, I just want to take a moment to acknowledge you for sharing your love, your light, your wisdom, just for being a blessing in my life and, just how you show up every day, um, especially your energy inside the Happy Hustle Club community and just how you've impacted a lot of uh, the guys as well as my own life. I'm just so grateful for you. So I just want to say thank you. And thank you for putting on this Montana Business Summit and for giving it to the Happy Hustlers for free. That's just so awesome. So thank you, brother.
My pleasure, Carrie. Thank you. You've been a very formative inspiration in my life. So thank you.
Ah, love that, man. All right, bro. Final question. What does happy hustling mean to you?
Oh, living a life of purpose. Living a life of
Let's go.
purpose.
I love it. Mic drop, y'all. Steve Benzak, thank you for watching and listening. Peace and love, everyone. We are out.